The great principle, perhaps the most important mental and spiritual principle ever discovered, is that you become what you think about most of the time. Your outer world is very much a mirror image of your inner world. What is going on outside of you is a reflection of what is going on inside of you. You can tell the inner condition of a person by looking at the outer conditions of his or her life, and it cannot be otherwise. Now, as a Bible-believing follower of the Christ, the righteousness of God, I can understand this, that you become what you think about most of the time. And this can be clearly seen on the outside of a person, reflecting what is actually going on the inside. And that is true also about the general public. What is going on inside of every person in society is a reflection of society. Because what every man is thinking about, whatever every woman is thinking about, whatever they think about most, that is what they are doing. And that's why society is filled with so many different kind of things, conditions and circumstances, because it is what is going on the inside of every person that is reflected in society. Now, if we have a broken home, if we were raised up improperly, then society will be the reflection of that, of poor morals and poor standards. Now, you can tell the difference between the homes that has taught proper and correct morals and standards to their children, because they were also taught proper morals and standards, so they pass it on. So it's also a trend. It's a trend and it's also a cycle. Now, after realizing that, there is a great principle, and after getting the opportunity to read the Word of God, the manual to help us to navigate this journey we call life here on earth, the earth that we were given for our dominion and power to rule over. If we recognize, after reading the Word of God and understanding who we are, then an individual can put a stop to the cycle, whether the cycle is bad morals and practices in the family. And so you recognize at a certain point that, listen, I cannot go on living like this. I need to change. And that's why this is about change the way you think, you change your life. Because it is the great principle. Your outer world is very much a mirror image of your inner world. Just as though the physical world is an image of the spiritual world, and the physical world represents or reflects what is actually happening in the spiritual world, as we can understand it from the Bible, the Word of God, that there is a force for evil and there is a force for good. And so we can realize that some things that are totally out of our control, and sometimes the influence, things that we don't see, but the things that we hear, the thoughts that comes to us, where do they come from? Where does the bad thoughts come from? You understand? We have destructive thoughts and we have constructive thoughts. And now we have to understand how to control and ensure that when we get these thoughts, we are in control and we dwell upon only the constructive ones to build us up, and not the destructive ones. So what is going on the outside of you is a reflection of what is going on in the inside of you. And we can tell the inner condition of a person by looking at the outside condition of his or her life. So if you are a disorganized person in your thoughts, if you feed only on the destructive things, if everything that dominates your mental attitude or your mental perspective is always negative and the bad things, the things that are addictive, then it will be your reality. You will do these things without even thinking twice. And that is the case. It cannot be otherwise. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So don't deceive yourself. That is a great principle. Don't deceive yourselves. For God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And that is a great principle of life, whether you want to believe it or not. It is the great principle. And it is also called a thought process. If you don't take control and dominance over your thoughts, they will take control over you. And as I said before, what is going on the inside is a reflection of the outside, and it goes for the general public. You understand what I'm saying? And likewise, what is going on in the spiritual world, it is reflected in the natural realm. So I just want to let you know that whatever you sow, that is what you're going to reap. And you cannot fool yourself. That is one thing. No one can fool themselves. And if you are trying to fool yourself, and if I am trying to fool myself is going to expose me, because the truth will come out. Listen, there is nothing that is hidden that will not be made manifest or unveiled or uncovered or be known. Whatever is in the dark will come to the light. That is the great principle of life. You become what you think about most of the time. Just one more thing. Thoughts are everything. Thoughts. So the great principle is you become what you think. Whatever you are thinking about most of the time, if you are abiding in the word of righteousness, you will be righteous. You will make the decisions. You will be responsible. You will be motivated and inspired to do the things that will build you up, will make you into that better person, the better version of who you are. Not giving yourself over to the powers that be to become whoever you are. Not whoever you are, but the person that you ought to become. That is called mastering or disciplining yourself. And that is called self-control. You don't give in to the powers. Whatever be or whatever comes, happens. No. You are in control. So, from there we want to move on. You become what you think about. As a man soweth, so shall he also reap. Thoughts are everything. Or you can say thoughts are things. Thoughts becomes tangible, something you can hold. Because once thoughts are acted out, they become actions. And we want to cover that also. So your mind is extraordinarily powerful. Your thoughts control and determine almost everything that happens to you. They can raise or lower your heart rate. Thoughts can improve or interfere with your digestion. Your thoughts that you think can change the chemical composition of your blood. And also the thoughts you think can help you to sleep or keep you up at night, keep you awake. So what are we talking about? He said, a righteous man, a man that works his honest bread, sleeps good at night. But the man who gets his gain by dishonorable works cannot sleep. A criminal has to be monitoring his steps every 24/7, because he is at war with the force. He is at war with the force that will come and get him, because he is contrary to himself. A criminal cannot sleep, and if he does sleep is when he is apprehended and put in jail. That's when his troubles are over. But once you are a vagabond, once you are a criminal on the run, you cannot sleep. You cannot sleep well. And there again, you have criminals in high places, criminals in government, criminal in the religious organizations. You have criminals who are living wealthy and okay according to them right now in their big houses. And you have criminals who are poor and who are living in the less desirable places. So all over we have criminals. But I'm telling you that the mind, because the things that they have done will continually be before them. Where will they find peace? They can find peace in the forgiveness of God, but you have done the crime. So justice must take its course. Alright? So, as I said, the thought can mess with your blood, and it can keep you up at night, or it can allow you to sleep well. And as I mentioned before, a verse in Proverbs that the man who does his work, the worker, will sleep well. The man who gained his bread by honest work will sleep well. He will be in security and safety. But the one who has to build high walls, and put up many cameras and have many dogs and have many guns, they are living in fear, because they don't share. They want everything for themselves, and so the people rejects them. You become a burden to the people. And so never you oppress the poor, because they have a maker, and the maker of them is the Most High God, and he will not turn a blind eye or a deaf ears to their oppression. So your thoughts, as I said, your thoughts can make you happy or sad, sometimes in an instant. Your thoughts can make you alert and aware. Your thoughts can distract you, and they can depress you as well. The kind of thoughts you think can make you be a popular person, because why is it going to make you popular? You just thinking some thoughts. No one knows what you're thinking, but the Spirit of the living God knows what you are thinking. But what you are thinking, no one, the physical man, cannot know. How will it make you popular or unpopular? Is when you do them. Christ the Messiah, Yeshua the Messiah, he said in one of his objections, he said that whatever I see my Father does, that's what I do, and what he says, that's what I speak. So how will you be popular? Is when your thoughts becomes an action, or you put them in word, meaning you put them in verb. You put them in action. That's when you become popular or unpopular. So by just thinking the thoughts, no one can tell what you're doing or what will happen. It's when you put them in action. So thoughts can make you confident. If you have a race to run, an exam to do, a marriage to work on, and they can make you insecure. Thoughts can make you insecure. If you're trying to build something and you think that it's not going to work, they can make you positive, they can make you negative. Your thought can make you feel powerful or powerless, can make you feel like a victim or the victor, a hero or a coward. So that is what I'm saying. And the next thing is that in your material life, in my material life, our thoughts can make us a success or a failure. Our thoughts can make us prosperous or poverty stricken. We can also be respected for the kind of thoughts we think when we utter them.